This is All India Radio. I am Gaura Dhawanlal and with me is Nobunita Adhikari with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently holding a high-level meeting on the Ukraine crisis. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is working round the clock to bring back Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine. Indian Embassy in Ukraine issues urgent advisory asking its nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately. Nearly 17,000 Indian nationals leave Ukraine border since advisory issued, says MEA. Government is mounting 6 flights today in Romania, carrying over 1,200 Indian students back to India, says Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. National Disaster Response Force sends relief material to Ukraine. Coal Ministry receives 26 bids for auction of 11 coal mines for sale of coal. All arrangements in place for the 6th phase of assembly elections to be held tomorrow in Uttar Pradesh. Over 177 crore 79 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Recovery rate at 98.6%. And in cricket, 12th ICC Women's World Cup to begin from Friday in New Zealand. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and get fully vaccinated and also help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact the national helpline numbers 011 239 78046 and 1075. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently holding a high-level meeting on the Ukraine crisis. Mr. Modi has been continuously chairing high-level meetings since the Ukraine crisis began. During the meetings, Mr. Modi has been reviewing the ongoing efforts under Operation Ganga to bring back Indians stranded in Ukraine. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the government is working round the clock to bring back Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine. In an interview to a Hindi daily, Mr. Modi said the government is aware of the hardships faced by Indian students due to the war situation. He said the government is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that every Indian reaches home safely. The Prime Minister said weather conditions did make things difficult for us at several places. He said this is the reason why the government prioritized the evacuation of students and other Indian nationals from those areas where fighting was intense. Mr. Modi said he personally spoke to several heads of states. He said all ministries involved in this mission are working with complete dedication. As a result, when the students return home after being evacuated, people can clearly see the happiness on their faces. Their parents are relieved. The Prime Minister told the newspaper that he has sent 4 union ministers to oversee evacuations from countries bordering Ukraine. He said, when those stranded children see that the ministers have personally come to take them home, they are relieved and they are hopeful of reaching home safely. Mr. Modi said the government has mobilized NGOs and organizations owned by Indians in countries sharing borders with Ukraine. He said, well before the beginning of the war, the Indian Embassy was in touch with the students and has been constantly guiding them. The Prime Minister said before the war, there was a cap on the number of flights between India and Ukraine, but the Government of India spoke to Ukrainian officials and relaxed the curbs so that the number of flights could be increased. He said it is a result of our efforts that we were able to safely evacuate nearly 12,000 Indian students from Ukraine. Mr. Modi emphasized the role of the Air Force, which is now taking part in both evacuating Indians and providing aid and relief material to Ukraine. He said, besides regular flights, we've also roped in the Indian Air Force for evacuations. The Prime Minister said, for the next 30 days, a total of 30 flights will be bringing back Indians from Ukraine. Mr. Modi said he has told officials to ensure that the government is constantly in touch with the relatives of students. He said right from the district collectors to ministers, the government is reaching out to thousands of families and standing with them to assure them of their children's safe return.
There has been a sharp increase in the number of Indians who have left Ukraine. Briefing media in New Delhi, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said nearly 17,000 Indian nationals have left Ukraine's borders since the advisories were issued. He said it includes some Indians who have not registered with the embassy earlier.
There has been a sharp increase in the number of Indians who have left Ukraine over recent past. We now estimate that nearly 17,000 Indian nationals have left Ukraine's borders since our advisories were issued.
Mr. Bagchi said flights under Operation Ganga have also increased sharply. He added during the last 24 hours, 6 flights have landed in India, taking the total number of flights that have landed in India to 15 and the total number of Indians who have returned on these flights to 3,352. The spokesperson said as many as 15 flights are scheduled over the next 24 hours.
Remember 6 flights last 24 hours? But 15 flights are scheduled over the next 24 hours. Some of these are already actually en route. Indian Air Force aircraft have now joined Op Ganga with the first C-17 flight from Bucharest expected to return to Delhi from Bucharest later tonight. 3 more Indian Air Force flights will be undertaken today from Budapest, Bucharest and Rzeszów in Poland.
The spokesperson said the cities in the eastern Ukraine remain an area of concern as there has been continuing violence. He said there are encouraging reports that some students were able to board trains out of Kharkiv yesterday night and today morning. An embassy assisted them in the process through student contractors and other partners. Mr. Bagchi informed that India is in communication with the Russian side regarding safe passage of its nationals from Kharkiv and other nearby cities. He said the advisory that has been issued by the embassy today is on the basis of information received from Russia. He urged all Indian nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately to safe zones or further westwards using any means available, including on foot and keeping safety in mind. The spokesperson said a mechanism for issuing emergency certificates to those who lost their Indian passports have been instituted. He said it will also help many Indian students. Mr. Bagchi said Government of India will bring back all of its citizens from Ukraine. He said the Indian embassy in Kiev was asked to set up a temporary office in Lviv to facilitate border crossings by Indians. The spokesperson said a substantial segment of the embassy team is now at Lviv for this purpose. He said Ministry of External Affairs is exploring options to reach eastern Ukraine to assist the evacuation of citizens who are stuck there. Mr. Bagchi said we are seeing if our teams can reach there as it is not easy because the route is not open all the time. The spokesperson informed that Chandan Jindal, an Indian national in Ukraine, died today due to natural causes and he was in hospital for last few days. On a query on request from other countries on evacuation, Mr. Bagchi said in principle, India is always ready to help other countries. He said if we get a specific request on it, then our stand will be guided by it. He added that if we get an opportunity like that and we are able to do it, then we will definitely help. On a query on whether Prime Minister Modi will speak to Russian President Vladimir Putin again tonight, the spokesperson said the Prime Minister has been speaking to leaders of several countries and MEA share about it whenever such talks take place.
The Indian Embassy in Ukraine has issued an urgent advisory for Indian nationals in Kharkiv. The embassy said for their own safety and security, the Indian nationals must leave Kharkiv in light of the deteriorating situation. The Indian embassy said they should proceed to Pesochin, Babay and Bezlyodovka as soon as possible for their safety. The embassy said under all circumstances, the Indian nationals must reach Pesochin, Babay and Bezlyodovka by 6 p.m. Ukrainian time today. It said those students who cannot find vehicles or buses and are in the railway station can proceed on foot to Pesochin, which is 11 kilometers, Babay, which is 12 kilometers, and Bezlyodovka, which is 16 kilometers. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia today called on Prime Minister of Romania, Nicolae Ciucă, and thanked him and his government for facilitating the entry and ensuring the safety of Indian citizens amid the grim situation at the Ukrainian borders. Mr. Scindia expressed happiness that the Romanian Prime Minister has assured his continued support to Indian students crossing the Romanian borders and reiterated the friendly relations between the two countries since the last 74 years. Mr. Chuka and Mr. Scindia also shared mutual interest in expanding bilateral trade given the huge economic potential and presence of Indian businessmen in Romania.
Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, who is in Romania for the evacuation of Indian nations, also has said that the government is mounting 6 flights today in Bucharest, Romania, carrying over 1,200 Indian students back to India. Mr. Scindia thanked Air India, Indigo and Air India Express for rising to the challenge and working round the clock with the government on the evacuation operations. The minister today chaired a meeting with the ambassador Rahul Srivastav and the Indian diaspora, heads of Indian companies in Romania, to decentralize the evacuation operations and map out responsibilities, including assisting with medical emergencies and 24/7 call center and state-wise data collection. The Indian Embassy in Romania, in coordination with the Moldovan authorities, is organizing the movement of Indian nationals stranded in Odessa, Ukraine to Bucharest through Moldova. The airspace in Moldova is closed, so Indians are being sent to Bucharest. The embassy is organizing 2 routes for buses, one set of buses for those crossing the Palanca border and being sent directly to Romania without stopping in Moldova. Another route for those who are in the camps located in around the capital, Chisinau. The bus services are being provided free of cost. Since yesterday, about 250 students have crossed over to Romania, and they have all been sent by buses organized by embassy directly to Bucharest from the border.
Another special flight carrying Indian nationals who were evacuated under Operation Ganga from Ukraine reached New Delhi this evening. Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy welcomed them at the airport. The Indian nationals came to Budapest from war-torn Ukraine and boarded the special flight. To bring back Indian citizens stranded in Ukraine, the government has pressed IAF aircraft into service. 1 IAF aircraft each today left for Romania, Hungary and Poland from the Hinton Air Base. The first one to leave was Indian Air Force's C-17 transport aircraft, which flew for Romania early this morning at 4 a.m. Round-the-clock control centres have been set up to assist in the evacuation of Indian nationals through the border crossing points with Hungary, Poland, Romania and the Slovak Republic. The helpline numbers for Hungary are +36 308 51 7373, +36 132 57742 and +36 132 57743. For Poland, the numbers are +48 2254 00 000, +48 795 850 877 and +48 792 71 2511. For Romania, the helpline numbers are +40 732 12 4309, +40 77 163 25 67, +40 745 16 16 31 and +40 741 528 123. And for the Slovak Republic, people can contact +421 252 631 377, +421 252 962 916 and +421 951 697 560. A dedicated Twitter handle in the name of Operation Ganga Helpline has also been set up to assist in the evacuation of Indians from Ukraine. The External Affairs Ministry Control Room helpline numbers are 1800 118797, which is toll-free, 91 11230 12113, +91 11230 14104, +91 11230 17905, and the fax number is +91 11230 88124. People can also email at situationroom@mea.gov.in.
The Union Territory Administration of Jammu and Kashmir is in touch with the families of all the 32 persons from Jammu who are stranded in war-torn Ukraine. All India Radio Jammu correspondent reports that a senior official said today that the UT government is taking all possible measures for their safe return. The divisional administration has asked families to seek any assistance from 24/7 District Control Room on telephone number 0191 2571 616 and 0191 2571 912. The National Disaster Response Force has sent relief material to Ukraine. The relief material includes blankets, sleeping mats and solar study lamps for the people of Ukraine. The relief material was sent through a flight that left for Poland this morning and another consignment on an Indian Air Force flight that left for Romania this afternoon. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a high-level meeting on the Ukraine crisis. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is working round the clock to bring back Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine. Indian Embassy in Ukraine issues urgent advisory asking its nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately. Nearly 17,000 Indian nationals leave Ukraine border since advisory issued, says Ministry of External Affairs. India evacuates stranded citizens from Ukraine via Moldova. Government is mounting 6 flights today in Romania, carrying over 1,200 Indian students back to India, says Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. National Disaster Response Force sends relief material to Ukraine. Coal Ministry receives 26 bids for auction of 11 coal mines for sale of coal. All arrangements in place for the 6th phase of assembly elections to be held tomorrow in Uttar Pradesh. Over 177 crore 79 lakh COVID vaccine doses administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Recovery rate at 98.6%. And in cricket, 12th ICC Women's World Cup to begin from Friday in New Zealand. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle, that is AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
In line with the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Make in India a global hub for manufacturing, the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, is organizing a post-budget webinar on Make in India for the World tomorrow. The Centre has approved a proposal for the continuation of 7 existing sub-schemes under the umbrella scheme Relief and Rehabilitation of Migrants and Repatriates. Approval has been given for the period 2021-22 till 2025-26, with a total outlay of 1,452 crore rupees. The umbrella scheme enables migrants and repatriates who have suffered on account of displacement to earn a reasonable income and facilitate their inclusion in mainstream economic activities. Union Home Minister Amit Shah said the move will ensure that assistance continues to reach the beneficiaries. The central government at different points of time had started different such schemes.
The Coal Ministry has received 26 bids for auction of 11 coal mines for sale of coal. 2 or more bids have been received for 5 coal mines. The process of 4th tranche of auction of coal mines for sale of coal was launched by the nominated authority Ministry of Coal on 16 December last year. The last date of submission of technical bid was 28th of last month. As part of the auction process, technical bids comprising of online and offline bid documents were opened in New Delhi today in the presence of the bidders. The bids will be evaluated by a multidisciplinary technical evaluation committee, and technically qualified bidders would be shortlisted for participation in the electronic auction to be conducted on MSTC portal from the 24th of this month. Communications and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav will inaugurate the 3rd edition of NIC Tech Conclave in New Delhi tomorrow. The 2-day event, being organized by the National Informatics Centre NIC, Minister of State for Electronics and IT Rajiv Chandrasekhar will grace the event as the guest of honour. The event will be attended by Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and other dignitaries from centre and state governments.
In poll-bound Uttar Pradesh, all necessary preparations have been made for the 6th of the 7-phase polling of assembly elections tomorrow. Polling will be conducted from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. The 6th phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted in 57 assembly constituencies, including 11 ACs reserved for scheduled castes from 10 districts. The electoral battle scenario shows that there are a total of 676 candidates, including 66 women in the fray, for 57 assembly seats. The total number of eligible electors for this phase is 2.15 crore. In all, 25,326 polling stations have been set up in the concerned constituencies for their convenience. Campaigning has intensified for the 7th and final phase of elections in Uttar Pradesh. Senior BJP leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed political rallies in Sonbhadra and Ghazipur districts. Talking about Operation Ganga in his rally in Sonbhadra, the Prime Minister said the government is making all efforts to evacuate people stuck in Ukraine under Operation Ganga and thousands of citizens brought back to India. He said the government will leave no stone unturned for the safe passage of Indians.
ये भारत का बढ़ता सामर्थ्य ही है कि हम यूक्रेन में फंसे हमारे देश के नागरिकों को वहां से सुरक्षित निकालने के लिए इतना बड़ा अभियान चला रहे हैं। ऑपरेशन गंगा के तहत कई हजार नागरिकों को वहां से देश वापस लाया जा चुका है। इस मिशन को गति देने के लिए भारत ने अपने 4 मंत्रियों को भी वहां पर भेज दिया है।
The poll campaign for the second phase of polling in Manipur as well as the assembly by-election for the Majuli seat in Assam, which will also be held along with the 7th phase in Uttar Pradesh, is going on in full swing. In the second phase of assembly elections in Manipur, 22 seats spread over 10 districts will go to polls on Saturday, out of which 11 seats are reserved for scheduled tribes. The silence period will be commenced from tomorrow evening, and all the political parties have intensified the election campaign in all 10 districts. More than 8,38,000 voters will decide the fate of 92 candidates who are in fray in 22 assembly constituencies. Over 4,000 children who have lost their parents due to COVID-19 infection have been identified and have been approved by the government for obtaining the benefits of PM CARES for Children scheme. Briefing a press conference this evening after launching the Stree Manuraksha project in New Delhi today, Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani apprised that the number of these children may exceed.
India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has reached nearly 178 crores today. More than 18,93,000 vaccine doses were administered today. More than 2 lakh precaution doses for the identified categories of beneficiaries have been administered so far. They include healthcare workers, frontline workers and people over 60 years of age. In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Anup Kumar from Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi, will be with us today to answer queries related to coronavirus.
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day. In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter Talash Kuwari, who died on the 2nd of March, 1858. Queen of Amodha princely state, now in Uttar Pradesh, Kumari led from the front during the First War of Indian Independence. After the death of her husband, Jang Bahadur, in 1852, Kumari took over the administration of the princely state. The British government wanted to annex the princely state, but faced stiff resistance from the Queen.
When the First War of Indian Independence started, Kuwari joined in with the rulers of other princely states under the leadership of Bahadur Shah Zafar to fight against the British East India Company army.
In 1858, the British Army under the leadership of Colonel Hughes was sent to attack the princely state. The Queen and her soldiers fought the British valiantly. However, they were not able to match the might of the British Army.
The British wanted to capture the Queen alive, but the Queen pierced her chest with her own sword and died of the self-inflicted wound on the battlefront. The body of the Queen was hidden by the associates and was buried near Chaura of Samay Mata Bhavani, the deity of the state.
Even after the martyrdom of Talash Kuwari, the people of the region continued to struggle against the British. The British Army went from village to village and caught the soldiers of the Queen and hanged 150 soldiers from the trees in the cantonment. Maharani Talash Kuwari is still alive in the hearts of the people. We salute the great freedom fighter.
We also remember Martyr Harshuk, who died on the 2nd of March 1858, a resident of Palwal. Harshuk took an active part in the First War of Indian Independence in 1857 against the British rule. He was captured by the British Army and executed in Delhi on the 2nd of March 1858. We salute the great son of the soil.
The 12th ICC Women's Cricket World Cup is all set to begin from the 4th of March in New Zealand. The opening match will be played between the host and the West Indies at the Bay Oval in Tauranga. 8 countries will battle it out in 31 matches over 31 days at 6 cities of the island nation. The teams participating are Australia, Bangladesh, England, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa and the West Indies.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have thunderstorm with rain and the temperature will vary between 12 and 27 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 35 degrees Celsius. Chennai is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 21 and 32 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 31 degrees. Srinagar will have rain or snow. Temperature will hover between 4 and 6 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature will be 10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 19 degrees. Leh and Gilgit are likely to have a partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have a generally cloudy sky. Visakhapatnam will have a partly cloudy sky with haze. Hyderabad will have a partly cloudy sky with haze. Guwahati will have a partly cloudy sky with haze. Imphal, Kohima and Aizawl will have a mainly clear sky. Shillong will have a partly cloudy sky. And now before we close, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds high-level meeting on Ukraine crisis. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says government is working round the clock to bring back Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine. Indian Embassy in Ukraine issues urgent advisory asking its nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately. Nearly 17,000 Indian nationals leave Ukraine border since advisory issued, says MEA. India evacuates stranded citizens from Ukraine via Moldova. Government is mounting 6 flights today in Romania, carrying over 1,200 Indian students back to India, says Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. National Disaster Response Force sends relief material to Ukraine. Coal Ministry receives 26 bids for auction of 11 coal mines for sale of coal. All arrangements in place for the 6th phase of assembly elections to be held tomorrow in Uttar Pradesh. Over 178 crore COVID vaccine doses administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Recovery rate at 98.6%. And in cricket, 12th ICC Women's World Cup to begin from Friday in New Zealand. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.